Hello everyone and welcome to the 16th episode of Italian Politician of the Week. I am Ipernik and today we are talking about Stefano Bonaccini, the current president of Emilia Romagna since 2014. Bonaccini today is famous for being the most loved left-leaning regional president of Italy, as well as for his appearance. I mean, look at his Chad beard and his fashion style. Due to the effect Bonaccini has on women, I brought my friend Federica to give us her output on Bonaccini as well as to expand on the context behind his re-election. Before we start, remember to like and subscribe if you have not already. If you like the video, I will grow you a beard. That's right. As you press like, a beard will just grow on your face or your ass. I don't take responsibility if you're not satisfied of the outcome. Let's start. Bonaccini was born in 1967 in a small town near Modena. He came from a lower middle-class family, which probably influenced his initial altruistic views on politics. He started his political career during the 1980s as a member of the peace movements. He later became a member of the Democratic Party, which at the time had just dropped the communist symbolism and names and adopted a more moderate stance. Over the years, he was assessor first in Campo Galliano, his hometown, and Modena. He also became head of the Democratic Party's youth group and later became secretary of the Democratic Party in Modena. After the 2010 regional election, Bonaccini was elected regional councillor for the Democratic Party. He became one of the closest advisors of President Vasco Errani, who had been there since 1999. On the 13th of December 2013, he was appointed national coordinator for local authorities in the National Secretariat of the Democratic Party under the leadership of Matteo Renzi, who Bonaccini supported in the 2013 primary elections. In fact, I mark the early 2010s as the time where Bonaccini's views moved a bit more right. He was obviously influenced by Renzi's presence in the Democratic Party and adopted a more liberal approach to his politics. But let's talk about his political compass later. In 2013, President Errani was caught into a big scandal involving mismanagement of government funds by the company Terre Merse that had been hired to rebuild some houses and other buildings that had been damaged by an earthquake in 2012. Errani had to resign to save his reputation, even though he was found innocent at the end of the day. Bonaccini was seen as the most likely successor, however he was challenged by Michele Richetti and Roberto Balzani for the position at the 2014 elections. Furthermore, to complicate things, all three were also caught into the investigation, so as you can imagine, it was a very twisted situation. None of them were actually guilty, but it was still very awkward. Bonaccini won this election with a very high advantage, and he has been president ever since. This brings us to his political compass. Bonaccini is a social liberal today. This can be seen by simply looking at what he is proud of doing in Emilia-Romagna. He passed a new series of reforms for employment that encouraged businesses to invest on young, aspiring personnel. He also increased funds on schools and healthcare, as well as infrastructure, public transport, sports facilities, waste disposal, and regeneration projects. Take this with a grain of salt though, since that's what he wrote on his website. But it seems like that he has done quite a lot, and to me appears like a good governor. However, you do not get to be Italian Politician of the Week by being good. If I learned anything from last week's video is that you guys do not like good politicians, so let me fill you in with Bonaccini's biggest flaw in my opinion, is arrogance. There are three main ways to take criticism if you are a public figure. You can ignore it, push back using charm, humor, or reason, and last and definitely least, succumb to the provocations by usually yelling until whoever is in front of you shuts up. Bonaccini would often choose the second way by using constructive arguments to rebuttal, although often with a somewhat snooty or passive-aggressive tone. I had the opportunity to see this in person. On the 8th of July, July, I went to see Bonaccini himself, presenting a book in San Lazzaro, together with the mayor Isabella Conti. The book is called How to Beat the Right, which from what I understood is a book about how populism sucks and about how cool he is for having won the election in a region where everybody hates Salvini. But anyways, Bonaccini and Conti were talking about how Italy's GDP was expected to decrease due to the current recession. Bonaccini said it was going to decrease by 10%, but Conti decided to correct him and say it was actually 11.7 according to the most recent statistics. You know, a simple and honest clarification, right? Well, apparently not, because Bonaccini fucking stared at her for 10 whole seconds, just to then proceed talking as if she never said anything. I was like, what? To this day I ask myself, why the fuck didn't he say thank you? It wasn't even a critique, it was a sign of courtesy. But there is more. Bonaccini's Instagram is very interesting. He mostly posts pictures of himself alongside statements about whatever is going on, but in the stories he sometimes shares quotes or pictures of nature that usually give two different vibes: middle-age crisis or teen emotional phase. The best part is yet to come. If you write a hate comment or make any kind of criticism to any of his posts, be certain that he will respond and make you regret you ever did. This happened to me once actually. Remember Susanna Ceccardi? Well, after she lost the election in Tuscany, she was asked what she thought of the other regional presidents. When asked about Bonaccini, she said that she did not know much about him, but her gut told her that he isn't so great. Bonaccini posted a screenshot of the article where this statement was written and wrote that he was not going to respond, just to then write 2 paragraphs about it. Seeing the clownish behavior, I commented saying that responding to that does not make a lot of sense, especially after saying you wouldn't, and that by doing so, you only drop to her level. Well, he responded by telling me to go to bed. Not going to lie, it rubbed me the wrong way. On one hand, yeah, it was midnight when I wrote this, but at the same time, what kind of response is that from a public official? Another guy made a similar comment afterwards, where he said it's not very classy to respond to dumb comments like that, to which Bonaccini responded saying that actually the reason why he responded is because he is classy and therefore he needs to be an example. Jesus Christ, this guy is 53. This may be one of my many unpopular opinions, but being arrogant can actually be acceptable if you achieved much in your life and therefore have earned your bragging rights. Bonaccini did quite a lot of cool things over the years, but he's not as loved as he thinks. This was shown at the presidential elections that happened just on January. To challenge him this time was Lucia Borgonzoni, a senator from Lega who honestly had a very bland program that was blatantly copied from Bonaccini's. She was also not that great of a public speaker, always hiding under Salvini's shadow, and turns out she was not even that prepared to be in charge in the first place, after she was ridiculed on live TV by Carlo Calenda for basically making up European laws as she spoke. Regardless of her ineptitude, the early polls showed her getting just as many, if not more, votes than Bonaccini, who did little to no campaign at all, thinking that he was going to win anyways. As I mentioned previously, he did actually win, but do you know who made him win? Sardines! No, I refuse to explain, but Federica will.
On the 14th of November 2019, Borgonzoni and Salvini plan to host a rally in a stadium in the city of Bologna. The city is famous for 2 things: Bologna and communists. In fact, in response to the rally, 2 protests were made. One in particular was very interesting. It was organized through a Facebook event and it was called 6,000 Sardines Against Salvini. The idea of the event was for 6,000 people to fill Piazza Maggiore, in protest to Salvini's presence in the city, in the same way sardines tightly fit into a can. The event was organized by a group of friends, but the idea was of Mattia Santori, who will then turn the sardines into a movement. They hosted many events in every major city in Italy, essentially halting Salvini's campaign on a national and regional level. Some were hosted directly by Santori and his friends, but most were actually made out of people's initiative. The voter turnout in Emilia Romagna increased by almost 30%.
So, Federica, to end this video, what do you think about Bonaccini?
Overall, I think that he is a pretty good governor of the region, and that his politics are mainly centered around his person, on himself,
That's true.
rather than around the party. And I think that it is a very clever strategy. So overall, I think he is doing a good job.
Yeah, but like, you know, there are many people who actually see him as the president of the Democratic Party. Do you see him in that position?
No, I don't.
No, you don't.
No, I don't.
No.
No.
Oh well. Maybe we'll have his own party, you think?
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, so what about his looks?
He's pretty good looking, pretty
That's good.
fashionable.
Pretty fashionable,
Yeah,
right?
and many people would say that he's daddy.
He's daddy, right? Do you see yourself in among those people?
Maybe? I don't know. Never
And
thought about it.
you would say that his most attractive characteristic is probably his beard, right?
Yeah, I would.
Have you ever seen him without his beard?
No.
Do you want to see it?
Sure.
All
Why
right.
not?
All right. Are you mentally prepared?
I am.
There he is.
What the fuck?
He looks like a neo-fascist with second thoughts.
No, I can't.
There are worse ones. I was looking for. There he. This one, it really looks like a member of Casa Pound, doesn't he?
This can't be true.
Oh, it is true.
This is not reality.
B is very true.
You're kidding me.
No.
You
Okay,
must be
well.
kidding me.
Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And yeah, Federica and I will see you next time,
Bye.
if there will be a next time.